Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer from Humble Forager. So they're a brewery it's being brewed out of a talk pie in Wanaki. Wanaki. I think Wanaki. You guys have corrected me before. Wanaki, Wisconsin. But yeah, really cool. Great interview. One of my favorite podcasts is Craft Beer, and we're going to talk about specifically this one about like processes and his sourcing of ingredients, fruits, selection of fruits, combinations, spices, cocoa nibs, vanilla, all that interesting stuff. So he does a great take on all this stuff, and it's really fun. And picked another one up. I just had to, and I've had some really amazing beers from them. So, or seltzers too. The Tiki Sour, one of my favorite beers of last year was one of his beers. Yeah, and then he also does the Tiki Sours. Arguably one of my favorites seltzers of last year, like just crushing it. So this is a breakfast sour, coastal sunrise. This is he does different versions, and this is version 6, vegan too. So no lactose in here. Peach, pineapple, vanilla beans, maple syrup, pecans, cinnamon. Sounds absolutely insane. And knowing him and how he sources his ingredients, oof, I am excited. I mean, that is a smoothie sour, right? Really cool that it doesn't actually, I mean, obviously it has high residual sweetness. It has that kind of like thing where like it has a thickness to it. You can sort of see as you pour it, but it's not sludgy, right? Some of the nasty ones, but some of the really sludgy ones that I have from Imprint. Immortalis was really sludgy. Ellipsis down here in Orlando is those sludgy ones. This one doesn't look that sludgy. It's like in the medium space on. Smoothie sour. So really nice. Beautiful color. I mean, that looks like freaking juice. And then, or smoothie, right? Or, yeah. And then has a little bit of chunkies in it, right? You get a little bit of like yeast or something going in there. He's out of Wanaki, so out of a talk pie, which has all the crazy kind of processes. They're able to pasteurize like inline. They do the canning, pasteurization, all that cool stuff. So this is just shelf stable. Stuff is very fresh from what I understand. Yeah, this is canned. Oh, enjoy buy. Oh, no. Sorry. They have a year-long enjoy buy on this guy. So this was canned about a month ago or 2 months ago, but year-long enjoy buy because it's good to March of 2023. So it's crazy. Beautiful. Maple syrup comes off first. The fenugreek kind of thing. Vanilla and maple. Cinnamon. It smells like cinnamon toast crunch. That's mostly what I get. I don't get the fruits. A little bit of fruitiness underneath, like strangely like mango-y. Mangoes in here, right? Yeah. No, it's peach. That's peach. Maple syrup, pecans, vanilla beans, cinnamon. That's what shows up on the top. That's your top note right there. Cheers. Smells like freaking French toast. That's a goal with a breakfast sour. So that's so fun. So it smells like that, but it actually tastes different. You still get all those kind of flavors up front, though. It's very breakfasty. Okay, so this is French toast Bellini. That's what he's going for. It has to be, right? With the peach, yeah. French toast Bellini. Wow. I love it. Excuse me. The sourness is quite tight, very light. Medium minus. The smoothiness is quite nice. The sourness sort of hits on the back palate because like you're balancing with the fruit. And it's not that like sludgy thing. It shows this beer, right? The base beer is still fighting here. It might be, I'd argue like in my mind, like some of these beers literally taste like fruit puree, no beer. This has a showing of like mostly beer. So like, I mean, obviously the percentages are not right, but it tastes like this beer is mostly 55% beer, sour beer. And then you get all the fruit on top of it. So there's still a lot of fruit in here, but there's literally these beers, this Muji that I'm talking about, Imprint that I had. It's like almost no kind of beer content to it. It just tastes like sludgy fruit puree with a little bit of carbonation. Here it actually tastes acidity. The cleanliness of the acidity kind of like dries it out. The beer sort of shows up and like, oh, this beer ends up drying out. But it's fun. The big note here is that the maple and cinnamon are just so dynamic, and they play around the palate all over, but they show up front. And the maple syrup is such a fun flavor because it's not stickily sweet, but it's an impression of it, and it stays on the palate. So it's like this like maple syrup candy that just like it's as if you drank a fruited sour and just sat a like maple candy on your tongue and just let it sit and ruminate. And that's sort of what this beer does. Somehow you're taking a sip and the maple just sits and lingers. You get the vanilla and cinnamon offering these more kind of, again, desserty flavors. They call it breakfast sour, but like, again, Americans eat dessert for breakfast. Talking about your, cereals, your candy cereals, all the like sweet flavors you get, pancakes, waffles, French toast. These are all desserty flavors that are not familiar with the rest of the world. Like people eat real food for breakfast, but here in America, we've industrialized food to enjoy these crazy sweet foods for breakfast. I'm a savory guy. Eggs, bacon, sausage, toast, blah, blah, blah. Potatoes. I like breakfast food, savory, not sweet. Maybe waffles. That's about it. Because texture. But fun. Very breakfasty in that sense, but for most people it'd be desserty. I haven't talked about the fruit yet. So underneath that is that Bellini flavor we're talking about. Peach, very light on pineapple, sweet peach. Not really much of that acidic kind of peach going on. Fun. Pecans. That's the other flavor. See, like, it's really fun to sort of like dissect these beers because there's a pureness of the quote unquote breakfast flavor he's going for, but it's so complex that it's like a complete meal. And like, I'm tasting like, again, maple syrup, pecans, vanilla. Like, it doesn't even taste like the specific elements of what's going on because it just combines itself to make it taste like breakfast. And like breakfast has a specific flavor, and they're subtly distinct in the sense that the maple probably shows itself the most. Pecan is actually the nuttiness that sort of hits on the back end. But that whole ride is so complex and dynamic because you've offered all these flavors that like are hit at little points that makes it a complete meal, right? Like that breakfasty kind of flavor. Like you're adding 4 ingredients. It's again the vanilla beans, maple, pecans, and cinnamon, and nothing overrides itself to make it seem like, okay, that's the adjunct that's like showing itself. I'd say maple is probably the overriding theme, but that's probably what you get when you get a breakfast food. Like the maple is so pure and so shining. That's what this does. Maple shines, but then the other flavors sort of like go all the way. Then you get the fruitiness. It's like really pretty. And again, it's like maple French toast and then the Bellini that's underneath it. And underneath you get a really nice kind of sour beer without too much sludginess. And it still dries out with the lingering flavors of the maple, vanilla pecans, maybe a little cinnamon. Again, all those flavors hit up front, but they also linger all the way. That is crazy. I mean, crushing it. Where's my bell? Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Well, there you guys go. I was looking back this whole time, and you guys were probably screaming at the camera when I did my last review where this guy was, but I have to appreciate it. Like despite like how some people, I mean, I don't think anybody reviews this kind of beer. Like, people enjoy it. And well, they can review it on tap. Like, this probably has a dumb on-tap rating, but this is the kind of stuff that I appreciate. Like, I like the impact, but it's the complexity, the execution, and it's so easy to just throw a lot of flavors in there, print it on the label. You only taste like 1 or 2. It's pretty gross to drink. This is tasty. Like, it's actually tasty. And the most important thing is culinary. That's what's so important to me. I think it's so important, like, studying for advanced Cicerone, like you have to be culinary in your mind. And this does things I enjoy. Like, I don't like breakfast food. I don't like these flavors, but like, it makes sense and it's connected and it's woven well. Execution is just killer here. And if you're gonna make quote unquote silly beers like this, like do it with like such thoughtfulness, balance. I mean, what is balance? I literally spent the whole video talking about balance. So I'm going to use the word balance because it's the integration of ingredients that sort of make sense. And they, again, they're dynamic and they weave into each other really well versus like just showing like fruit and like spice and just like going like, okay, these are disjointed. It's the beer, it's the spices, it's the extra ingredients and the fruit. And somehow that all just like, it's gonna be hard to beat the sour for the year. Execution and impression, and it's actually drinkable. Oh my God. And the tartness and the peach and the pineapple, it's actually not that showy. I would have guessed maybe it's mango in here, but the pineapple is just very light. And if you look for it, there's a little bit of that fleshy tartness that just, again, fills the hole. So like, you know, the graph can sort of go like this and dip, but the pineapple just shows there and keeps it going. It's just like all moderate. This is a full intensity beer, full intensity flavor, and it just goes all the way. And like, instead of like flashing intensity up front or dying, it just goes all the way. And it's just all impression, day in, night out. So day in, night out, day in and night out, right? I don't know if it's an idiom. 98 Coastal Sunrise. That is delicious. High impression beer, high execution, pretty good utility. I mean, like, I mean, not utility, but like drinkability, great. Like, if you like this kind of stuff, it's actually very enjoyable. Cheers. Humble Forager, crushing it. I'm gonna have a hard time finding a better kettle sour for the year. Until next time, guys. Cheers later.